I'm Roger Peterson, and we are looking at the face of Toronto, but it may be changing. Coming up, we'll tell you about the island that's proposed for the Portlands.
City News, The 5, right now.
I just don't think that they should be able to get away with this.
They're there to protect us, so they should have nothing to hide.
A family pet dead after a takedown. I'm Tammy Sutherland in Brampton. Why Peel police are refusing to comment on whether officers opened fire.
A classic controversy.
I came down here, I drove 9 hours just to come get this book.
How the sequel of To Kill a Mockingbird is rewriting history in a way not everyone likes.
These guys just have a lot of fumes coming off of them, and you know, this is going to be just preliminary to get them comfortable enough to manage.
Ducks in danger. I'm Audra Brown at the Toronto Wildlife Centre. The overwhelming battle for wildlife rescuers after an oil spill puts lives in danger.
Good evening, I'm Avery Haynes, and we begin tonight with a City News exclusive investigation that goes to the very heart of police transparency. Do you think that police should have to tell you when they fire a gun inside a person's home? And who watches over police? Is that police oversight adequate? We begin tonight with our Tammy Sutherland and the story that launched the City News investigation, the alleged shooting by police of a family dog.
A Brampton family says that this mark was left behind in their floor by a bullet that was shot at their pet dog by Peel police 2 weeks ago. Now, the dog was shot and killed as officers raided this home where an illegal weapon was found and an arrest was made. Now, a news release was put out about the investigation itself and the charges, but there are questions tonight about why that news release never mentioned that shots were fired inside of the home.
I understand why they were here. I don't understand why they shot my dog.
Jennifer Lutz says her German Shepherd Rocco was shot while tactical officers entered her home, where they arrested her son and seized an illegal handgun and drugs. The news release about the arrest was put out by Peel police, but the family questions why there were no details about a police firearm being discharged.
They didn't say that my dog was shot. They didn't say that they shot him in front of my 10-year-old daughter.
I heard the first shot because I was in the living room, and then I came and then I saw Rocco on the ground.
After several attempts since last Friday to get comment, Peel police tell City News they will not speak to the matter and will not confirm whether a gun was even fired by officers. The head of media relations says they can't comment on a police complaint, but the Lutz family has yet to file one. Police also say they cannot speak to any claims of police gunfire since the separate weapons case is before the courts. Brampton Animal Services would not confirm whether the dog was shot or not, referring us back to Peel police.
Transparency cannot hurt when we're dealing with the police services.
Brampton defense lawyer Michael Moon says any act of police gunfire in a neighborhood should be made public, and it shouldn't matter if anyone or any animal was injured.
The public has a right to know the kind of force, the quantum of force being used by the police officers that are set up to protect them. Right? So, if there is a use of force, I don't believe it should be denied to the public if they want to see it.
Now, that story came to us from a City News viewer. If you have a news tip to share, you can email, call, tweet, or go to our website, citynews.ca, and we'll follow up. So earlier today, I had a chance to speak to the outgoing head of Toronto Police Services Board, Chair Alec Mukherjee. He has some surprisingly candid comments about police transparency that's coming up a little bit later in the show. Also, that same man, Mr. Mukherjee, was speaking out today about body cameras. A pilot project that got going a couple of months ago has Toronto police testing 100 body cameras. They'll only be recording during investigative contacts, such as a crime in progress or when dealing with someone with mental health issues. Now, Chair Mukherjee wants a report done on the feasibility of having police body cams also record on all non-arrests as well as informal contacts with the public.
If the board agrees with me, the board would like to know the full implications of using body-worn cameras. The board shares the service's interest in trying out the camera, so there's no disagreement on that score. Simply, can we expand the scope so that the information that we receive is more useful than information from a more limited pilot?
The Toronto Police pilot project will continue until March. That doesn't leave a lot of time to actually go ahead with what Mukherjee wants when you consider that the chief will have to get a study done and report back on the board. Only then will we know whether or not it gets the go-ahead. Now, the police union, which is the police association, is already on record saying that they are not supportive of keeping these cameras rolling all the time. I'm Avery Haynes. Now, Gord, I'll throw it back to you.
Avery, thank you. Things are definitely not ducky today for dozens of our waterfowl friends in Mimico Creek. Videographer Audra Brown with the mass rescue from a mysterious oily slick covering about 8 kilometers of the waterway.
A desperate situation for dozens of oil-covered ducks.
You've seen anything like this before?
Not quite to this extent.
It was a scene that Toronto wildlife officials say they have never seen in the GTA.
We've always suspected something like this could happen, so we've had a plan. So this is kind of the first time that we're actually using it.
Toronto Wildlife is attempting to capture all of the ducks that have been coated with oil. Unfortunately, it's more than they thought. Every few steps, another duck in distress.
This call, we heard there was 6. Then we got here, and 6 were visible, but every step we took, it flushed out another one. So we're probably at dozens by now, I would think, and we know of dozens more. So this is a pretty big deal for these poor ducks.
The oily substance in Mimico Creek spans from the 401-427 intersection as far down as Bloor Street. Toronto Fire have tested it. Mineral oil spilled from a tanker truck overturned on the 427 ramp last night.
Last night efforts were made to contain it and collect the material spilled from the storm sewers. Everything was done that could have been done last night. It was undetermined that it would have made it to the creek.
They believe the mineral oil was inside 3 transformers being transported on a tractor trailer. It is unknown how much got into the storm sewers and then into the creek, but each transformer carries 3,000 liters.
That's a significant amount. The material itself is not considered to be extremely hazardous by any means.
While firefighters began the containment process using booms, the cleanup was handed over to the City of Toronto, who may be billing the transport company for the cost of the cleanup. The Ministry of the Environment has also taken water samples to try to confirm that it is just mineral oil.
However, if it is from that rollover on the highway last evening, there'd be diesel mixed into it too. So it's pretty nasty conditions in there.
Coming up, I'll take you inside the Toronto Wildlife Centre as the staff attempts to wash the oil off the birds. It's how they do it and how long it'll take to get these ducks back into the wild. At the Toronto Wildlife Centre, Audra Brown, City News.
Okay, hand them up.
All right, it's pretty idyllic inner harbor we have here. There's a heavy police presence, of course, because of the Pan Am Games. They'll be doing the sailing medals just over on the far side. And just beyond that, the Portlands. But there's a huge change coming that could change the face of Toronto, and it all starts at the mouth of the Don River. Waterfront Toronto is teaming up with all 3 levels of government to create a new mouth for the Don River. The almost $1 billion project would flood protect the Portlands and help bring commercial and transit developments to the area. The proposed massive makeover is being touted as an economic boom for both our city and our country.
An independent study by PricewaterhouseCoopers done for Waterfront Toronto in 2014 estimates that spending on design and construction of this nearly $1 billion project will generate $3.6 billion in value added to the Canadian economy.
We can have prosperity in the city, green in the city, and unlock the environmental and economic potential of these lands. Thousands of new jobs, new affordable housing, more new affordable housing, new businesses, and transit like Smart Track.
Now, due diligence work still needs to be carried out before construction can begin. If given the green light, the project would take about 7 years. Waterfront Toronto released an animation of how it might look in the decades to come. Coming up at 5:30, how a major part of this project hinges on building a new island. All right, the Pan Am Games, of course, mentioned that the sailing will be here. Hopefully, we'll be taking gold because we're taking gold everywhere. But it's creating a buzz with all those medal wins that we're talking about when it comes to ticket sales. Some 25,000 tickets were sold yesterday alone. That's a new benchmark. Organizers say that's enough to push them over the 900,000 ticket mark. Now, with a total of 1.4 million up for grabs, still a few available. After a somewhat sluggish lead up Things have seemed to turn the tide for Pan Am, with many fans buying their tickets on the day of event.
20 to 25% of all tickets bought on venue are at walk-up kiosks, so that's great. So people are clearly getting out for the games. I've been in awe of our fans and spectators that have come out. They're singing anthems loud and proud, and they're showing up in droves, and there are flags of every color on, that is imaginable. It's fantastic.
And maybe this is a sign of success. Scalpers are starting to sell Pan Am tickets. Pan Am officials don't recommend buying tickets from the online guys, but they do seem quite happy that it's showing. Look at it as a sign of growing popularity. And Danielle, holy cow, you need an entire program to keep track of who's winning gold for Canada right now. Some impressive wins.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Roger. It's been a lot going on. And here in Canada, we talk a lot about winter sports. It's always a focus on hockey. But let that ice melt, because Canada's shown they're just as deadly on the water. It was another huge day for our paddling squad, starting off with kayaker Mark De Jong, who powered his way to gold in the K1 200 meters for his second medal of the day. Canoeist Lawrence Vincent Lapointe followed that up with a sensational effort in the C1 200 meter event that saw her win gold by more than 2 seconds. May as well have been a whole minute. Tack on a third top finish thanks to a wire-to-wire victory by the foursome of Matthew Bouy, Julian Bahane, Will Dean, and Rob Gibson in the men's quadruple sculls. So all in all, our paddling crew earned 8 medals in 11 events. So no surprise, Canada still leads the standings with 50. Remember, it's changing all the time. I'm trying to keep up. The order hasn't changed much from yesterday. The United States, Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico round out the top 5. Now, of our 22 golds, one of them came from Kalita Zupanicic in Judo, who won our country's first gold in the sport at these games.
The Pan Am Games is only every 4 years, so to be in Toronto, I'm a Whippy girl, so all my friends and family were able to be there last night, so it was awesome.
All right, and coming up a little later in sports, I'll have highlights of her gold medal bout, as well as we'll take a look at last night's home run derby, where Josh Donaldson was representing for the Blue Jays.
Coming up on City News.
Your brain doesn't match up with your body, and that's something that I was going through.
She's one of the most controversial MMA fighters.
We're not exactly where we need to be yet, and we've got a long way to go.
How the first transgender mixed martial artist is fighting for equality.
I'm meteorologist Natasha Ramsahai. Hot and sticky weather here continuing across the city of Toronto. Now, we got away really easy in terms of the rainfall, those on and off showers through the day today. Almost nothing happening now to the south. We go up to the north, though, and that's where we find some slower moving pockets of showers in a line sort of from east to west here, right back through Shelburne. And it's because of that slow motion that Environment Canada has a couple of rainfall warnings out. So I'll show you that in a minute. Also back through Ingersoll. This is the rainfall warning for Peterborough, Port Carling, and Bracebridge. Up to 50 millimeters of rain expected, and we still have a severe thunderstorm warning down through southwestern Ontario as well. Environment Canada expected to update that by 5:32 p.m. Now, temperatures are into the mid-20s, but of course the humidity is still in place, so it still feels like the low 30s. That's going to change tonight. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast humidex, and by about midnight, you're really going to start to feel the humidity easing. By the morning, our 13 is going to feel like 13 degrees. In fact, I would say you might even have to grab a sweater as you head out the door if you're leaving at about 6, 7, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning because of that 13-degree start. We are getting up to 23, so it is running just a little bit below seasonal. But again, it's going to be a very comfortable day and a little bit windy as well. So this comfortable feel, once the humidity leaves us tonight, is going to last through the rest of the week. But that heat, we're turning it up again for the weekend, and not just the weekend. We could be in for a stretch of 30s starting on Saturday. In fact, 4 or more days worth. I'll have those details in a bit. Gord?
Okay, Natasha, a 3 billion mile journey that's been a decade in the making. NASA makes history with its Pluto flyby. Stunning images from the landmark mission just ahead.
LeafGuard works on the principle of liquid adhesion. See how the water hugs the side of the glass. Now look at the LeafGuard system. The secret's the curved hood. See how the water goes in, keeps out the leaves, pine needles, and other debris. LeafGuard works. Listen to Karen.
We have pine needles, we have leaves, we have those little fluttery butterfly things that go everywhere, but not in my gutters. Yay!
Let me keep your gutters clean forever. Call us here in Toronto and throughout Southern Ontario right now to take advantage of our summer bonus sale. Receive a Regal barbecue grill with the purchase of Leaf Guard at $800 value. Or take a cash discount. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments till 2016. Call during this program and receive a deluxe barbecue utensil set with in-home estimate of $49 value. Pick up the phone and call Leaf Guard for a free estimate right now.
You can always spot someone who's just traded up. Trade In, Trade Up is back at your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram retailer. Trade up to a Chrysler 200, Canada's most affordable mid-size sedan. Or Dodge Journey, Canada's most popular crossover. It's the Trade In, Trade Up event on now.
Bugs Bunny changed our Saturday mornings, made them more electrifying, more alive. But most of all, he made our Saturday mornings a lot more fun. Now's the time to hop to it and get your own $20 pure silver Bugs Bunny coin for $20 from the Royal Canadian Mint. No tax, free shipping, money-back guarantee. Get yours now at mint.ca. Hurry, because when these limited edition coins are gone, that's all, folks.
I'm the only one ever cared about you, and all of that ended when you killed my son. I was gonna shoot Michael. I'm coming after your boy, and when it's done, I'm gonna look you in the eyes, and I'm gonna see how empty they are without your son in the world. Then I'll let you die.
Run all night. Why wait to watch what you want? Order the hottest new release movies with the touch of a button. Go to Rogers On Demand on Channel 100 and start watching today.
They are celebrating at Mission Control as the New Horizons spacecraft makes this historic flyby of Pluto. 3, 2, 1. It's a trip that has taken 9.5 years, covering 4.5 billion kilometers. A photo was sent back right before the flyby, but a batch of even sharper and more detailed images is expected later tonight. Researchers can hardly contain their excitement.
Pluto is an incredible new world, and we're the first ever to see it as the Pluto New Horizons spacecraft zipped by Pluto, and the best is yet to come. What we're trying to learn about is, what makes Pluto tick, if you will? How was it formed? Is it still alive? Is it a frozen world, or does it still have something going on inside under the surface?
Just to give you some perspective, New Horizons is so far away from the Earth that all the data it has collected so far will take 16 months to transmit back here to Earth. And the Ontario Science Centre is getting in on the Pluto excitement, tweeting out the new photo with the caption, "Are you seeing this? 9 years well spent for this amazing photo." There's buzz that geological formations found in today's photo look a bit like the other Pluto. The adorable Disney character? I don't think so. Still ahead on City News, the new science of drinking. The next cocktail you have could come in a cloud, not a glass. All the day's tech news is up next.
100% of ladder accidents are preventable, and one sure way to prevent a fall is not to climb a ladder at all. But I hear people say, I got to get up there to clean the gutters. No, you don't. Look at Leaf Guard, the only seamless patented one-piece hood and gutter system. It works. Listen to Adam.
I haven't even thought about them. In fact, we went up to have them checked to see if there was anything stuck in them. And that was about 8 years after we put them in, and there was nothing up there.
Remember, Leaf Guard is attached to the fascia using our patented hanger system with screws, not nails. It's not coming down, even in severe weather or in the ice and snow in the wintertime. Call in now during our summer bonus sale here in the GTA and receive a Regal barbecue grill with purchase of Leaf Guard, an $800 value. Or take a cash discount. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments till 2016. Call during this program about Leaf Guard and receive a deluxe barbecue utensil set with in-home estimate. Call Leaf Guard for a free estimate and gift now.
All the critics say yeah to Kinky Boots. The Toronto Star calls it a 4-star spectacular celebration, and CTV raves it's pure joy. now on stage at the Royal Alexandra Theatre. Call 416-872-1212 or book at mervish.com.
Sound like your air conditioner? Call Reliance now, before you lose your cool. And now, when you buy an air conditioner from us, you don't have to pay for 2 summers. That's right, not 1, 2 summers. A comfortable way to keep your cool and your cash this summer and next. Because at Reliance, we're not comfortable until you are.
Leon's is proud to be Canadian, and during Canada's home sale, we're celebrating with special prices on all Canadian-made furniture. Save up to 55% on Canadian-made Sealy mattresses, and get special prices on appliances during the Great Canadian Appliance Sale. Ends Tuesday. Visit Leon's or leons.ca today.
Shoppers, start your engines. A huge online sale is set to begin tomorrow. Mike Gioni explains in today's Daily Download.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Download. Get your credit cards ready. Amazon is hoping you'll spend some cash this week as it prepares to unveil Prime Day in Canada. On Wednesday, the online giant will hold a massive sale. The company claims Prime Day will be bigger than Black Friday with huge cuts on hundreds of items. In fact, the move is already creating an online war. Walmart in the U.S. plans to rain on Amazon's parade and is now planning on offering similar price cuts south of the border. While Walmart Canada has no plans to offer the savings here, Canadians can take part in Amazon's deals. The only catch, you must be a Prime member, which sets you back $79 a year in exchange for perks such as free 2-day shipping. If you've ever dropped your phone, had it slip out of your hand, or end up with a cracked screen, you know they are not cheap to repair. Well, now we may have our first truly unbreakable smartphone. This is the Turing phone, the first smartphone in the world that is made from liquid morphium. The material is stronger than aluminum or steel. The phone is waterproof. Even the internals can come in contact with liquid and still work. The Android phone also claims to be unhackable, running everything through encryption. The phone is being developed in the US and it's expected to sell for $610 at the end of the month. And finally in the Download, it's technology that could change the way we consume alcohol. Forget the frosty mugs or bottles. In a couple of weeks, you'll be able to indulge in cocktail clouds. Some creative entrepreneurs in London have figured out a way to turn our favorite drinks into vapor. The so-called alcoholic weather system lets guests enter a chamber where they absorb their favorite cocktail through their eyes and lungs. The vapor is 1 part booze to 3 parts mix. 40 minutes in the chamber is equivalent to consuming a stiff drink. Ponchos are worn to protect your clothing so you don't smell like booze when you step out. A single session will set you back around $18. Hey, it's a little bit steep, but you can say you're doing it in the name of science. I'm Mike Gioni, and your Download is now complete.
Or you could just put it in a glass and drink it. There is indeed plenty of cash for the Canucks, who came up with a free online dating site. Richard Southern's business report coming up next with a boatload of money paid for plenty of fish.
Let's face it, clogged gutters can do damage to your overhang and trim, landscaping, flower beds, even your foundation. Here at Leaf Guard in Toronto, we can protect your home by keeping water from seeping around the nails on your fascia board when the gutter's clogged. Take a look at Leaf Guard, the only patented seamless one-piece hood and gutter system. Ask about our clog-free guarantee. Does Leaf Guard work? Listen to Donna.
Leaf Guard handled it great. We had an awful lot of rain the last couple of days, and we didn't get any clogs at all. All of the rain just went right down through the gutters. All the pine needles slid right off.
Call us now to take advantage of our summer bonus sale. Receive a Regal barbecue grill with purchase of Leaf Guard, an $800 value. What are you waiting for? Pick up the phone and call in now, or take a cash discount. 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments till 2016. And if you call during this program, receive a deluxe barbecue utensil set with in-home estimate. Call Leaf Guard right now.
Harvey's introduces new hand-spun classic shakes made with real milk for only $1.89. In chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or cappuccino. Classic shakes for only $1.89 at Harvey's all summer long. Now that's a beautiful thing.
At your Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer, expertise isn't expensive. It's just expected. Mopar people, Mopar parts.
When injured because of a negligent property owner, make one call.
to Cariotti Law.
It can happen fast, just like that.
You fall, you get hurt. Then what do you do?
When a property owner does not maintain their premises, it can become dangerous to others. That's when serious injuries happen. At Cariotti Law, we take your injury case seriously. If you have questions about an injury claim, call me. We're here to protect your rights to the fullest.
Call Cariotti Law at 905-629-8040, protecting injured people's rights.
Modern Family, 9 Wednesday on City.
.680 News business editor Richard Southern joins us now. And Richard, one of Canada's top real estate firms is urging the Bank of Canada not to cut interest rates tomorrow.
That's right. It's Royal LePage that is out with this interesting and stark warning for our central bank. Royal LePage is warning the Bank of Canada against any interest rate cut when it meets tomorrow. It says any interest rate decrease would only add fuel to what is an already almost overheated housing market, both here in Toronto and in cities across the country. This is an interesting position for Royal LePage to take because, of course, it has an interest in people buying homes, and you'd think it would like a hot housing market. At the same time, Royal LePage out with some housing statistics, and it just further underlines the market here in Toronto and how strong it is. This is through the first half of the year. Average detached bungalow price up almost 13%, topping $712,000. Average two-story home up 11.6%, topping $834,000, and the average condominium up 5%, just above $402,000. Speaking of real estate, are you in the market for a new home? If so, you may want to buy one on a tree-lined street. Certainly, we have many of those here in Toronto. Researchers say that having a house on a street that has 10 or more trees has health benefits equal to a $10,000 raise or being 7 years younger. Researchers out of the University of Chicago found that people who live on tree-lined blocks are less likely to report conditions like high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes, though it's not quite clear why this is the case. Some speculate it might be because it encourages people to get out and exercise. Regardless, you might want to look for some green if you're in the market for a new home. Price of gas, meantime, heading lower here in Toronto tonight. Quite the roller coaster ride lately for gas prices. We're going to go down 3 cents a litre at midnight tonight. And that'll bring the average down to about $1.20.9. This is largely the result of that breakthrough deal with Iran. Some Western nations, including the U.S., inking a nuclear deal with Iran. And that will allow Tehran in exchange to pump its oil onto the global market. The global market, though, oversupplied by about 2.5 million barrels a day. So this is going to serve to further push the price of oil lower, we think, and that could help us out at the pumps. Though the Bank of Canada, a bit of a wild card, should it cut interest rates tomorrow, that could send the loonie lower, and that could put the brakes on any gas price decreases. Finally, it seems like there's big money floating around in the online dating business these days. The Match Group, which owns Match.com, OkCupid, and Tinder, has purchased Vancouver-based online dating site Plenty of Fish for a whopping $575 million. Now, Plenty of Fish is free to use. They generate revenue through advertising, and you can also pay for certain features like to see who's viewed your profile. They have about 100 million users. The Match Group is planning an initial public offering on Wall Street for later this year. Gord, back to you.
All right, Richard, thanks for your time. We'll see you again soon. 5:30, Francis D'Souza next with breaking news.
We are following breaking news right now from Highway 427, where a police vehicle has been involved in a collision. Here is a live look at the scene near Rathburn Road. You can see just north of the bridge there, all the emergency lights. That's where the crash has happened. At this point, we don't have a lot of details confirmed. The OPP media officer is on the way to the scene, but Toronto police have confirmed that one of their vehicles was involved in the collision shortly around or just after 5 o'clock. So this is affecting all of the southbound lanes here. Here's a bit of a closer look that we recorded earlier. It's in the southbound lanes, and right now we have all of the southbound express lanes blocked, and they are now turning cars around and then redirecting them back into the collectors. So right now only the collector lanes are accessible, the southbound collector lanes at the 427. So we are continuing to follow this story and confirm details. We do know right now that one person is being extricated from a vehicle. Another person is injured but is able to walk. So we will continue to follow this story. Let's go live to Avery Haynes with a City News exclusive now.
And thank you, Francis. Earlier in the show, we were telling you about one woman's claims that Peel police shot the family dog inside the home, 3 bullets, while a child was in that house. Now, when we tried to get even basic information from Peel police about just what happened, they stonewalled us at just about every turn. Our Tammy Sutherland now with how even the Police Oversight Board, the civilian board, didn't want to talk about it.
We're here at Peel Police headquarters in Brampton, and one family here in the city claims that Peel police officers shot and killed their dog while they were conducting a takedown inside of their home about 2 weeks ago. Both the family and Peel police do confirm that a young man who lives inside of the home was arrested, and a legal firearm and ammunition were also found inside of the house. But Peel police are remaining very tight-lipped about the claims that a firearm was discharged inside of the home.
Some people say that, well, it's just an animal. Well, it wasn't an animal to us. It was a part of our family. We've had him ever since he was a baby.
Jennifer Lutz says her 2-year-old German Shepherd Rocco was shot by police while her son was arrested by a Peel police tactical team. Neighbors say they heard the gunfire. So did Lutz's 10-year-old daughter, who was just steps away. So the family is asking why supposed police shots were never mentioned in a news release about the arrest. When City News contacted Peel Police, they told us they will not comment on anything to do with the claim and will not confirm whether an officer's gun was ever fired. We reached out to the Peel Police Services Board, the civilian oversight body, about whether instances of gunfire should be made public. They responded, "In follow-up to your inquiry regarding police transparency, the board does not comment on specific operational matters. In terms of board policy, the board constantly reviews its policies to ensure they are consistent with provincial guidelines and regulations and with community expectations."
I think it should be, just by way of a simple request, a person living just on the street should be entitled to know that police officers have just discharged automatic weapons on the street and who they've hit, who they've killed, or what they've killed when doing so. So I think it should be, I would even go so far as to say there should be a positive duty on the police by way of a press release to say shots were fired by police, and then the issue is whether or not the names of the police officers are, disclosed for the purposes of operational integrity or whatever other reason.
And so it's stories that like this that raise issues about police transparency, issues that are not relegated just to Peel region, but to Toronto and in fact in boards right across this province. I spoke today with a lawyer who's made a career out of trying to ensure police accountability, and he says that police services boards across this province are not living up to their mandate.
G20.
Completely anonymous and
the controversial police practice of carding. Just 2 glaring incidents that call into question police oversight and transparency in Toronto. Police services boards are supposed to be the civilian watchdog of the chiefs and his officers. Members, though, are politically appointed, and police and their unions are powerful forces. In the aftermath of G20, a critical report from retired Judge John Warden describes the Toronto board as a voiceless entity, a mere bystander in a process it was supposed to lead. On the issue of carding, the board was seen to back down after its initial push to restrict the controversial practice. In fact, the outgoing chair of the Police Services Board told the Toronto Star, "I'm a practical man. Nobody wants to go to war with the chief." Lawyer Julian Faulkner has made a career on police accountability and says the entire hierarchy is flawed.
Police services boards represent what is supposed to be the difference between a society run by paramilitary organizations and a society in which our paramilitary organizations are controlled by civilians. I mean, the entire point of a police services board is that's how we exert our civilian control over our police services. But frankly, right now, as matters stand, police services boards don't deliver on what they're supposed to.
Coming up on City News.
A surprisingly candid conversation with the outgoing chair of Toronto's Police Services Board.
But a time comes when the board has to stand up and say, we have gone as far as we could.
You will hear something that's not ever talked about, the power struggle from within.
A woman who was at the center of changing Toronto police protocols when it comes to sexual assault speaking out today about getting the public more information and more quickly when it comes to sex offenders. Our Andrea Puno has more on that story.
Here at Dundas and Bathurst, there's a trailer set up, and inside of it are powerful messages, artwork, talking about sexual assault. People of the Scadencourt community created these one by one, and these people are from all walks of life. It's all part of a new initiative to raise awareness about sexual assault in communities like this one here. It's called the Safety Information System. It will be available this fall via social media and even an app on your iPhone.
People are going to be able to get notifications on not only sexual violence incidences and news stories, but really prevention information.
Many faces of sexual assault are hidden behind these bold images, but Mandy Gray has chosen not to hide and make her experience public. The university student was allegedly sexually assaulted by a classmate in January.
I recognize that this isn't my shame to carry. I think it's important to see me as more than just a victim or survivor of sexual violence. I'm also a PhD student, I'm a TA.
Mandy not only helped organize this event, she also created some of the artwork you see here, including this poster. In fact, this is the first time she is returning to the same area where her sexual assault took place.
I'm okay. I've moved past this, and now we are going to change this space into something positive.
You've had a chance to see this artwork on the walls here. How are you impacted by these messages?
It's a sort of maybe a humbling experience to sort of see sort of some of the more visceral pieces of the artwork here, and sort of like an often unfortunately needed reminder that this is still a problem that we face.
Coming up on City News at 6, Jane Doe, the woman behind a precedent-setting lawsuit from the 90s, speaks out and tells us why there's still a long way to go in the battle against sexual assault. Andrea Puno, City News.
Some dramatic moments in court today. One of the two men found guilty of plotting that terror attack on Via Train is most likely a schizophrenic. That's the claim today from a doctor testifying at a sentencing hearing. At one point during the proceedings, Chayeb Essegayer stood up in court, spread his arms wide, and proclaimed, "Look at me, I'm alive." The judge eventually had him removed because he refused to sit up in the prisoner box. Essegayer and Raed Jasser were found guilty back in March on charges of conspiring to commit murder. And the two men could face life sentences in prison. And now we want to send it back to Gord in the newsroom. Gord.
Avery, thank you. The creation of a new island is part of an almost $1 billion project to revitalize Toronto's waterfront. Plans were unveiled today to naturalize the Don River. The project would include diverting water from the mouth of the Don to create a new location known as Villiers Island. The island would help bring flood protection to the Portlands, unlocking business and transit developments there that could bring in billions in revenue. The city says this is a unique opportunity for Toronto.
No other city on the continent has an opportunity like this, the chance to unlock such large-scale waterfront development right beside its downtown.
The ability to take a large strategic area of land and have the opportunity to plan it, not just to develop it, but to plan it and to do it properly, I think is something very exciting. It's going to take essentially what is underused land and transform it into a valuable living asset for the city.
All three levels of government announced they are financing studies to see if this construction could go ahead. That's a big if. If it's approved, the project would take about 7 years to complete. Waterfront Toronto created this animation to show what the finished product would look like. Pretty space age. The first phase of the so-called due diligence work is scheduled to be completed by November.
Really nice night ahead, and you can almost feel the humidity slowly starting to ease out of the city. And as the humidity goes away and the wind picks up, we're going to see an increase in air quality, and for the better, that is. So there's your forecast for tomorrow. It's a 2. The lower the number, the better the air. We're at a 3 right now. There's the current temperature, but I'm going to circle something very interesting. So much cooler air just off to the north. We've got 12s and 15s through Moosonee, Timmins, and Sudbury, and that is the temperatures. Those are the temperatures that are headed our way
today, we are going to be into the low teens and low double digits come the morning. The other thing you have to know is that tonight we're going to peak at around 50 kilometers per hour in terms of the gusts around midnight. Even tomorrow morning, wind gusts still around 30 to 35 kilometers per hour, and then the wind starts to ease right throughout the day. But it's a nice fresh breeze. It's going to be very comfortable. Day to open the windows, get the cross breeze through the house. We are still seeing showers to the north of the city, but it looks like as of now, we are in the clear for the next couple of hours. We will be watching, though, as the back end of that system moves through the city around 9-10 o'clock tonight. So there's the forecast for some cloud around 8-9 o'clock. We pause it again, some spotty showers. There's your sunny Wednesday. And now let's look at Thursday. We'll go ahead. Almost nothing to forecast, just a little bit of cloud as we head through the afternoon. The outdoor outlook for tomorrow, green light for everything. Okay, why did I give patio barbecue a yellow? You know when you get that spot on the barbecue or on the patio that's in the shade and it's just like, okay, it's a little chilly. That's why I gave it a yellow. Anyway, it's going to be great. Heat returns for the weekend. You can see it there. And yes, I put in the words muggy, muggy, muggy. We will have humidex values between 35 and 39 for at least 4 straight days, if not longer. So starting on the weekend, it could be an extended heat stretch here in the city of Toronto. That's your latest check on weather.
This weather segment is brought to you by Walmart. Get summer living for less. Walmart. Save money. Live better.
The City of Toronto promised to crack down on UberX drivers, but now one councillor is claiming users could also face fines. The mayor, however, is painting a different picture. The controversial ride-sharing service launched Uber Pool in Toronto this morning. The 2-week pilot project will match drivers with riders who are going in the same direction, while those temporary HOV lanes are in effect during the Pan Am Games. But Councillor Jim Karajanis says UberX drivers are not licensed to pick up passengers, and according to his interpretation of the rules, passengers could be fined up to $20,000.
It is not up to me to think who gets charged or who doesn't get charged. It's up to the police to enforce the rules and regulations. I'm just wanting to make sure that people that are visiting us and people from outside the city and people from outside the country realize that there's a regulation.
I think the people who have to be responsible are those who are engaging in behavior that's outside of the law, and that is the people who are, the Uber operation and the drivers are the ones that are operating outside of the current law, not the passengers.
So far, 72 charges have been laid against 36 UberX drivers for operating a limo service without a license. The fines range from $300 to $500. Roughly half of those charges were laid before Council's recent decision to crack down on the ride-sharing service.
Show live at Nathan Phillips Square. I'm standing in the optimal photo-taking spot, hence all the traffic coming by. It's live. What can I say? Now, it was a busy day on the water for Team Canada. I'll have an update on how they did. As well, we'll take a look at the home run derby last night. While it wasn't our hometown hero who came away with the crown, it was still an exciting finish. All that and more coming up in sports.
Laid off? Separated? Tax problems? Garnishee? Is it simply impossible to pay your bills? Kevin Thatcher and Associates can help. Our friendly staff can help protect your family, your car, your home, and also reduce stress.
Hi, I'm Kevin. My staff and I are dedicated to help you and your family get a fresh start. We offer free consultations, evening appointments, and flexible payments.
Our offices are conveniently located across Southern Ontario and the GTA. Call us or visit billfixer.com.
Oh, you're coming over now. Okay. See you soon, Mom. What do we serve?
Milady, no need to worry.
New Robin Hood Quick Bread gives you homemade taste in a hurry.
In scrumptious flavors like banana.
And chocolate chip?
Yes, of course. So you'll have quick bread that tastes like Mumsy used to make. That was quick.
But we were quicker.
Are all our varieties this quick?
Indeed.
I'm Sigourney Weaver, and New York is my home. There's no place like it in the world. Like our state parks. The Adirondacks are my favorite. For hiking, fishing, camping, you name it. Niagara Falls is the oldest state park, but visiting it never gets old. The readers of a national newspaper voted Letchworth the #1 state park in America. Watkins Glen, #3. New York state parks are a gift. Plan your vacation at iloveny.com/summer. There's something for everyone.
For generations, Canadians have known that taking care of each other means taking care of our health. Yet the Harper Conservatives have buried a $36 billion cut to health care in their budget's fine print. Their plan means longer wait times, fewer nurses, and cuts to women's health. The Harper Conservatives, they won't be there for you.
I'm not gonna kill you.
For Entertainment City, I'm Adam Wilde. Here's our first look at Suicide Squad, including peeks at TO landmarks like Yonge Dundas Square, and we're getting it ahead of schedule. Warner Brothers released the trailer early after a grainy version recorded illegally at Comic-Con was leaked online. If some of these scenes look familiar, that's because Entertainment City showed you exclusive footage from our visit to the Toronto set. We were first to see the cast, from Will Smith to Margot Robbie, in character and in action.
Hope you got insurance.
Suicide Squad hits theaters next August.
Bye-bye, baby.
Our coroner now confirms that B.B. King died of natural causes, putting to rest accusations of murder made by two of the blues legend's daughters. Officials said King died of Alzheimer's disease and various other ailments. King died in May at the age of 89. For Entertainment City, I'm Adam Wilde from KISS 92.5.
It is only day 4 of the Pan Am Games, but Team Canada well on track to beating its record from 2011 in Mexico. Danielle.
Yeah, Gord, it's been all good, and it's been a busy day yet again for Canada's paddlers, who put on a dominant display on the water earlier. So if we take a look at the medal standings for Canada, they're still on top in a big way. Paddlers put up 8 medals in 11 events, so no surprise that Canada still leads. They're now at 51 total. The order hasn't changed much from yesterday. The United States, Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico round out the top 5. All right, so last night, Home Run Derby had a big makeover, a much-needed makeover to try to make it more exciting. It was bracket-style, winner advances, and although our hometown boy couldn't win it, it was still an exciting finish.
Okay, so you're all set. And is that our...
Donaldson, the leading All-Star vote getter, might I remind you. Representing the Jays, taking on Anthony Rizzo in the first round. And the Cubs first baseman smacked 8 over the wall, and Donaldson wasted no time chasing that mark. 3 quick home runs in the first 25 seconds or so, as he'd crush 9 total to advance to the semis. Unfortunately, he'd be bounced by the Reds' Todd Frazier, who had his home crowd in a frenzy as he drilled the winning homer number 15 in walk-off fashion over Dodgers rookie Jock Peterson in bonus time. Cue the fireworks. What a finish. Frazier becomes the 2015 Home Run Derby champ.
That was a great time, great experience. Just overall, I think it was a great format, and you can't go wrong with the hometown kid, winning it for his city. That was pretty neat.
The Argos looking to start 3-0 for the first time since 1991 as they paid Cowtown a visit in the second. Stampeders leading 14-7. Bo Levi Mitchell throws it up to Jeff Fuller. It's the leap and grab. Nice hops to give Calgary a 21-7 advantage, but here come the Argos. Under 2 minutes left till half, Harris finds Tori Gurley, who beats Bennett in tight coverage for the 44-yard hookup. Now after the play, Elliott jumps over Bennett, and that's not gonna fly. Stripes book him for objectionable conduct, but the Stampeders get the last laugh, downing Toronto 25-20, your final.
All right, Gord, so 2 thumbs up coming from me on the new Home Run Derby format. It was exciting. I was pumped for Josh Donaldson. Tonight is the All-Star game. The weather at the Great American Ballpark is ugly, so they're hoping that they're going to be able to squeeze it in. We obviously want to watch Donaldson, and obviously Russell Martin. Jose Bautista, a no-go with a bit of shoulder injury.
Yeah, well, this Home Run Derby format was changed for the benefit of the fans as well as the players, because it is a fan situation we're talking about when it comes to the All-Star game.
That's it, and it's trying to get kids and keep kids excited with baseball, and I think this was the best way. It was mono-y-mono. They kept going. They sure looked tired by that last round. I couldn't believe Todd Frazier managed 15 to win it. I was exhausted watching.
Yeah, they had a good sleep last night, I'm sure. Thanks, Danielle. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Yeah.
It is a tough question, but it is being asked. Is there an advantage in the cage if one fighter is transgender? Fallon Fox is back in Toronto and sat down today with Melanie Ng. That's coming up.
Who wants to sleep like a millionaire? Please don't say nobody, because you can get up to 60% off our exclusive Sealy Millionaire Collection. Who's better than Sealy in bed? Nobody!
Direct from Broadway comes Newsies, Disney's new Tony Award-winning musical. Now on stage at the Ed Mirvish Theater through August 30th. For tickets, call 416-872-1212 or book at mirvish.com.
Take a mini moment with whole grain, popped, crispy minis rice chips. Gluten-free and delicious.
Think Protection is a new home alarm company with the most advanced security at the absolute best price. Get a state-of-the-art home alarm for just $12.99 per month. There's no annual contract, so you can cancel anytime. We have the best security in the industry at the absolute lowest price with no contract. Get your $12.99 per month home alarm today.
Dial 1-855-763. Think Protection. ThinkProtection.com.
Florida. Get ready for fun in the sun.
I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life.
Get more? See more Florida with redtag.ca. Book a select vacation package now and receive one free day on us.
All right, so this is part of Panamania. These neat little boats here, all of these have been designed by artists from each country, and there's 41 of them for all the countries that are part of the Pan Am Games. Now, the athletes, of course, here to compete, but they also held a summit on inclusion in the events. Melanie Ng with more on that, including one special person who was involved in this.
Fallon Fox. Fallon Fox, she is an MMA fighter.
It's not her undefeated record that has everyone talking.
Fallon Fox has been grabbing headlines around the world as the first openly transgender athlete in the history of mixed martial arts.
Hey, Hillary. Good to meet you. Yeah.
Fallon is in Toronto speaking at a summit timed with the Pan Am Games and drawing international sport leaders. The goal, breaking down barriers around LGBT culture, especially at the recreational sporting level.
My big message is about inclusion and about including younger LGBT athletes in sport and making them feel more welcome. And how do we do this?
Wrestling played a big role in Fallon's early life, but the real battle was one she fought in silence.
I had feelings that I was female inside, like I had feelings that I wanted to be a woman, and there's this thing called gender dysphoria, where you start to dislike your body in relation to sex and gender, and your brain doesn't match up with your body, and that's something that I was going through.
When her daughter was just 5 years old, Fallon knew she needed to be true to herself.
I just let her know in so many words that, you know, Daddy's going to become mommy.
In 2006, Fallon transitioned to a woman. She was embraced by the LGBT community as she entered the competitive world of MMA. But to this day, she still faces criticism within her sport, competing as a woman.
You've had to go through so many challenges and battles. Joe Rogan, Dana White. How do you respond to all of this?
How do I respond to all of that? I try to respond to it with education.
Some people believe I have an automatic advantage.
But medical experts say she may actually be at a disadvantage because of the testosterone-blocking hormones that are taken.
With Caitlyn Jenner, with me, with a lot of people are starting to understand a lot more about transgender issues. We're not exactly where we need to be yet, and we've got a long way to go.
The Sport Inclusion Summit continues tomorrow. From there, leaders will be coming up with a series of recommendations to make a more inclusive recreational sport environment, not only for here in Toronto, but right around the world. At the 519, Melanie Ng, City News.
Still ahead, the classic tale continues. Harper Lee's fans are flocking to pick up the long-awaited sequel to To Kill a Mockingbird, but not all are giving it a rave review. The dramatic character change that has left some readers seeing red. That's coming up.
It's always entertaining when famous families face off. Give me some love. Join host Steve Harvey, Celebrity Family Feud, 8 Sunday on City.
Harvey's introduces new hand-spun classic shakes made with real milk for only $1.89. In chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or cappuccino. Classic shakes for only $1.89 at Harvey's all summer long. Now that's a beautiful thing.
Find gas station.
Playing Jazz Station.
What? Hi. Gas?
Cat migration.
No, I don't want a full tank Frank. How do I get gas?
When you travel, new doesn't always mean improved. Except for Motel 6's new improved website. In just a few clicks, book a room for the lowest price of any national chain based on price or location. It's new and actually improved. I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you.
Limits will be tested. Records will be broken. Medals will be won. See some of the world's greatest athletes give everything they've got live right before your eyes. Check out baseball from July 11th through 26th. Join the non-stop action at President's Choice Ajax Pan Am Ballpark. With tickets starting at just $20, these games are too big to miss. Get yours today at Toronto2015.org.
The crash-proof policy from Bel Air Direct is simple. Your premium won't increase due to your first at-fault accident. To demonstrate, here is ice dance champion Moyer.
Call me Scott.
Okay, Moyer. Let's go back to 2011. Ouch. Now, Moyer.
It's Scott.
If you were a car, you would have gotten away with that accident scot-free.
Seriously?
Mm-hmm.
That's your joke, scot-free.
It's that simple, Moyer. Contact us for a quote.
This is City.
I'm Avery Haynes, and coming up, a City News exclusive has us taking an in-depth look at police transparency. The big question is, should you have the right to know if police open fire inside someone's home? All of this centering around one woman's claims in Peel region that her family dog was shot 3 times in her home with a young child there. But Peel police are refusing to answer even basic questions. Coming up, the story that sparked our investigation.
I'm in a block host here in the Portlands, where unprecedented development could be in the works for Toronto's Waterfront, all part of a massive makeover. Coming up, the $1 billion proposal that could see this area turned into a booming business district and a new island created.
I'm Roger Peterson out on the harbor, and the Pan Am Games are going full bore. Tickets are becoming a pricey little item. A lot of people now want to see those games. We'll have a little peek at what's left for you to go check out what's available.
The long wait is over. Harper Lee's follow-up to her classic book, To Kill a Mockingbird, went on sale in bookstores today. But as CNN's Ed Lavandera discovered, the new novel contains a sinister light when it comes to the beloved hero, Atticus Finch.
Harper Lee's hometown never expected to see a moment like this, a midnight release party for the newly released novel from Monroeville, Alabama's most famous resident. Around here, she's known simply as Nell.
Julia, is that the first copy?
First copy. First copy.
You got the first copy?
I do.
And her hometown is in a frenzy over Go Set a Watchman.
I came down here, I drove 9 hours just to come get this book here.
I can't wait to get home, begin reading it.
Monroeville is a town of about 6,000 people, and at Old Curiosities and Bookshop, they've already taken more than 7,000 book orders.
You had ordered 14 copies before this, and you're ordering 4 more?
Bookshop owner Ann Moat says she's never experienced anything like this, and says Lee's friends tell her the reclusive author is thrilled to see the book published.
She just received her book last week. She's very excited about, sharing this with us.
In our courts, all men are created equal.
The new novel casts Atticus Finch, one of Lee's most beloved characters from To Kill a Mockingbird and portrayed in the movie by Gregory Peck, in a more sinister light, a bigot and segregationist. It's a twist that has Bunny Hines Nobles, the Monroe County librarian, a little nervous.
I'm really kind of surprised
But then this is a different time and this is a different book.
As the fanfare flares around Monroeville, Harper Lee quietly spends her days at this assisted living center, with guards on the front porch keeping away reporters and anyone trying to contact the legendary writer. And the release of Go Set a Watchman has many worried that the elderly writer was manipulated into publishing this book that was originally rejected by her editor more than 50 years ago.
It kind of makes you question, is this actually Miss Harper Lee's intentions or someone else?
But despite the controversy, Nell Harper Lee remains the beloved mockingbird of Monroeville. Ed Lavenderis, CNN, Monroeville, Alabama.
Tonight on City News at 6.
It's gonna live with me for the rest of my life.
Their family pet shot right before their eyes.
They're there to protect us, so they should have nothing to hide.
A City News exclusive reveals a series of shootings in Peel region and why police have said nothing about them.
What you're doing today, it's new. Frankly, it's brand new.
Could Toronto have a new island?
It's one of the biggest urban renewal projects we could possibly pursue.
How a plan to revamp the waterfront could put new real estate on the map. And an early warning for rape.
This is just one step in the right direction, and communities are doing it already. We're just supporting it.
How a remarkable idea is offering a new level of protection for women. Good evening, and we continue now with our City News exclusive, which we first brought you on the 5. Avery Haynes is looking for answers to the question, should police tell the public when they shoot their guns inside somebody's home? Avery.
And Gord, tonight we're exploring the issue of police transparency. This is a story that our City News' Tammy Sutherland has been working on, and it all stems from one woman's claim, a Brampton woman, who says that Peel police came into her home during a raid and shot the family dog 3 times with her young child nearby.
This is where there's a bullet hole. So they not only came in here and shot my dog 3 times, they came in here, shot him once, hit the ground, and shot them. They shot him 2 more times.
A Brampton family says their German Shepherd Rocco was shot and killed by Peel police while tactical officers were conducting a takedown at their home on June 29th. Jennifer Lutz says the gunfire broke out while her 10-year-old daughter was feet away.
I heard the first shot because I was in the living room, and then I came and then I saw Rocco on the ground.
I warned them twice, but there was a dog in the house, and they told me to shut the F up. They wouldn't listen to us. So they went in my house, and all I heard was a bang, 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 and they shot him 3 times.
Peel police put out this news release about the raid, detailing the arrest of Lutz's son Ryan and the charges that were laid against him. They even included a picture of a handgun allegedly found. But nowhere in the release does it mention shots were fired by officers in the home or that a dog was killed during the arrest. We've asked Peel police several times over the course of 2 days to confirm the circumstances surrounding the shooting. Things like whether the dog lunged at officers, prompting that gunfire. But police have said they will not be commenting on this incident, and they also will not confirm if a firearm was actually discharged. They have said, however, that if there is police gunfire during an arrest, it won't necessarily be made public, even if the media is specifically asking about it. The head of Peel Police Media Relations tells City News they cannot comment on a police complaint, but the Lutz family has yet to officially file one. Police also say they cannot speak to the claims of gunfire because the weapons and drug charges are now before the courts. We reached out to the Peel Police Services Board, the force's civilian oversight body, asking whether or not in general the public should be notified when shots are fired by officers. Their response? In follow-up to your inquiry regarding police transparency, the board does not comment on specific operational matters. Brampton Mayor Linda Jeffrey declined to comment, so did Mississauga Mayor Bonnie Crombie. Both mayors are members of the Police Services Board as well. We were told the chief of police is out of town. Defense lawyer Michael Moon says all police are obligated to fill out use of force reports when their guns are drawn or fired, but says the information should be made more accessible to the public.
A person living just on the street should be entitled to know that police officers have just discharged automatic weapons on the street and who they've hit, who they've killed, or what they've killed. I would even go so far as to say there should be a positive duty on the police by way of a press release to say shots were fired by police and then the issue is whether or not the names of the police officers are, disclosed for the purposes of operational integrity.
Lutz says she will be filing a complaint with Peel Police directly about the incident sometime this week, and police have assured us that once they receive it, they will be investigating it thoroughly. In Brampton, Tammy Sutherland, City News.
A City News viewer tipped us off to this story. If you have a news tip to share, you can email, call, tweet, or go to our website, citynews.ca, and we will follow up. Now, this story raises all kinds of issues about police transparency and perhaps even bigger issues about the Police Services Board that are actually supposed to be the watchdog of police. One lawyer who has spent his entire career fighting for police accountability says too often these civilian boards are actually just letting police police themselves.
If you leave it up to the kids on what time the kids are going to go to bed, if you leave it up to the kids on when they're going to eat, those you oversee end up running the show. That is precisely what has happened in the world of police services boards.
Police services boards are supposed to be the civilian watchdogs of local police forces. But even the outgoing chair of Toronto's board admits the pendulum of power has swung too far. Do you feel that boards in this province, civilian boards, need to stand up a little bit stronger and say, hey, we actually are the boss?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a discussion going on at the province on strengthening police governance.
The Police Services Act says civilian boards are responsible for setting policy, while the chiefs are responsible for carrying out operations. But that division of power can get blurred. Examples here in Toronto, a critical report from a retired judge on G20 describing the Toronto board as a voiceless entity, a mere bystander in a process it was supposed to lead.
Attend to your concern.
On the issue of carding, the board was seen to back down in its initial push to restrict the controversial practice because then Chief Blair was not on side. Board Chair Alec Mukherjee was quoted at the time as saying, "I'm a practical man. Nobody wants to go to war with the chief."
In many cases across the province, and I would say across the country, boards have given up too willingly jurisdiction that ought to belong to the board.
And here is the universal problem of police services boards right across the province. Members are politically appointed and often have no background in policing.
The truth of the matter is we lack training and a proper education for our board members so that they understand this isn't a cheerleading exercise for police officers.
Outgoing Toronto Chair Alec Mukherjee says there should be mandatory training of all board members.
There must be mandatory training, and if you as a board member do not take the training, then within 6 months or whatever period of time, you should not be a board member.
Is there mandatory training now?
No, there isn't.
All right, so how often do different police forces fire off their weapons? We've been doing some digging. The stats coming up.
Well, let's update you on a breaking news story from the streets. A Toronto police cruiser involved in a two-vehicle collision with one person trapped. Here now is a look at the scene our City News camera shot a short time ago. The southbound 427 from Rathburn to Dundas is shut down, and that was to free a victim from the wreckage. But the good news is that person is out. The officer as well is does not appear to be severely injured. Injuries are both minor. Live look at the scene now. You can see that the collector lanes is the only way to get on the 427 southbound right now. All traffic again is blocked in the express lanes at Rathburn, so police are forcing you into the southbound lanes. The police officer, the other person, have been taken to hospital, but once again those injuries are minor. Gord.
All right, Francis, there's a new push here in Toronto tonight by a local women's group to literally change the map of Toronto. Anna Vlahos is in the Portlands tonight with the new vision to transform our city's waterfront. Anna.
Gore, the Portlands are often overlooked by developers, but a new project being backed by all three levels of government is really pushing them into the spotlight. Now, where I'm standing right now is where they hope to split the John River, creating a new mouth and a new island right behind me. And this proposal is all about transforming this area into a booming transit and economic hub for Toronto.
ensure that the waterfront develops in a way that benefits everyone.
The City of Toronto wants to transform the underused Portlands into a long-term asset. This animation shows what the city hopes to accomplish 10 years from now with its proposed billion-dollar project to be funded by the federal and provincial governments.
We can unlock the environmental and economic potential of these lands. Thousands of new jobs, new affordable housing, more new affordable housing, new businesses, and transit like Smart Track.
But to make all this a reality, there need to be studies and assessments on flood protection for the Portlands. 750 acres, including parts of South Riverdale, Leslieville, and the First Gulf Unilever site, are at risk of flooding. Today, Mayor John Tory announced the city will be investing $5 million to look at the risks involved in naturalizing the mouth of the Don River. That means diverting the water so that it will create hundreds of acres of land east of the Don River, which will be known as Villiers Island.
It will protect the Portlands and the surrounding area from the risk of flood. And in doing so, it's going to unlock all of this area for development, investment, and the creation of an amazing new part of this city right in the heart of the waterfront.
Representatives from the federal and provincial governments say they support what the city has planned for the Portlands and what's already been developed, including the West Donlands, which is the current site of the Athletes Village.
Our government sees the enormous economic and social potential of making this area secure from flooding.
We're not done yet. There's a lot of work left to be done.
The first phase of the risk assessment and environmental studies that need to be conducted are expected to be completed by November, and Waterfront Toronto hopes to have the shovel in the ground by 2017. Back to you, Gord.
Uber is trying to get you into carpooling during the Pan Am Games, but could you get fined for using the service? One city councillor insists you can. The mayor, though, says not sure. Uberpool was launched in Toronto this morning. The 2-week pilot project will match drivers with riders who are going in the same direction, while those temporary HOV lanes are in effect. But Councillor Jim Karajanis says Uber drivers are not licensed to pick up passengers. And according to his interpretation of the rules, passengers could be fined up to $20,000.
It is not up to me to think who gets charged or who doesn't get charged. It's up to the police to enforce the rules and regulations. I'm just wanting to make sure that people that are visiting us and people from outside the city and people from outside the country realize that there's a regulation.
I think the people who have to be responsible are those who are engaging in behavior that's outside of the law, and that is the people who are, the Uber operation and the drivers are the ones that are operating outside of the current law, not the passengers.
So far, 72 charges have been laid against 36 Uber ex-drivers for operating a limo service without a license. The fines range from $300 to $500. Roughly half of those charges were laid before Council's recent decision to crack down on the ride-sharing service. Seems we are warming up big time to the Pan Am Games, especially when it comes to taking in the action live. Roger Peterson with how Pan Am is quickly becoming the hottest ticket in town.
It is indeed. Go right on the water where they'll be having the Pan Am sailing races, gold medals. Behind me here, we can see the Panamania. This is representing each country at the Pan Am Games, and each one was designed by an artist from those countries. So people are really, it's really gaining speed, getting interest right now, and another sure sign of that, ticket sales. Yeah, they're booming right now. Some 25,000 tickets were sold yesterday alone, setting a new benchmark. Organizers say that's enough to push them over the 900,000 ticket mark, with a total of 1.4 million up for grabs. After a somewhat sluggish lead up to Pan Am, things seem to have turned the tide, and many fans are buying their tickets day of.
20 to 25% of all tickets bought on venue are at walk-up kiosks. So that's great. So people are clearly getting out for the games. I've been in awe of our fans and spectators that have come out. They're singing anthems loud and proud, and they're showing up in droves, and there are flags of every color that is imaginable. It's fantastic.
Some tickets have been popping up on a resale site, so that's a good sign. And while Pan Am officials don't recommend buying tickets from online scalpers, they say they take it as a sign the games are growing in popularity. And of course, what doesn't hurt is success. Lots of gold for Canada, Danielle.
Yeah,
Roger. Now, while the Pan Am Games doesn't count towards Olympic qualification when it comes to judo, Team Canada's Kalita Zupanicic wasn't going to miss the opportunity to compete in front of a home crowd. Zupanicic is ranked first in the world in her weight class, was in the hot water with an early penalty, but bounced back to beat her Cuban opponent Onyx Cortez by ippon with 27 seconds left in the under 70 kilogram division. Now, while it's Canada's 6th medal in judo at these games, Zupanicic is the first to earn gold. She's off to Russia for a Grand Slam tournament today, but took a moment to celebrate how big a moment this was for her at home.
I'm a Whippy girl, so all my friends and family were able to be there last night, so it was awesome. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience as an athlete to be here at the games in my hometown pretty much, and winning gold on home soil, it doesn't get much better than that.
So no surprise, Canada still leads the medal standings with 51 now, and the order hasn't changed much from yesterday. The United States, Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico round out the top 5. And coming up a little later in sports, I'm going to take a look at the home run derby, how Josh Donaldson fared last night. We'll also hear from Tiger Woods ahead of the British Open this week, as long as you don't ask him about retirement. He doesn't want to hear any of that nonsense.
Coming up on City News.
Fighting for equality.
We're not exactly where we need to be yet, and we've got a long way to go.
How one of the most controversial MMA fighters is putting transgender rights on the line.
It's a hot evening out here downtown Toronto. We're getting into the sunshine, but there are some spots just outside of the core that are still at risk for some heavy downpours, and they are happening now. So we'll zoom into the first spot down around the west end of Lake Ontario from Stony Creek down through Caledonia. The brighter oranges indicate some of those heavier downpours. 407 up near Derry Road near Streetsville into a heavy downpour. That one's starting to weaken. We go towards Shelburne and Grand Valley. There's where you find some rain. And then Cookstown over to East Gwillimbury as well, edging down towards Newmarket. I just want to zoom out and put this in motion to show you how slow these are moving. And so if you get yourself under one of these, you could see some pretty intense rainfall because it is so slow to move. And there is a rainfall warning out through Peterborough and the Kawarthas as well. All right, let's get into the forecast then. Temperatures right now 25 degrees. It is 13 in North Bay. That cooler air is on the way and it will reach the GTA here in a matter of hours. So prepare for cooler weather tonight. Also, a fresher air mass will be in place. So you may have to actually grab a sweater as you head out the door tomorrow morning. Now, tomorrow's high will be 23. So the comfortable air will stay with us for another couple of days. We're going to turn back up that heat as we head into the weekend. So your air conditioner gets a little bit of a break for the next couple of days. And the next week, we could even be in for possibly the first heat wave of 2013. It's an extended stretch of heat. Those details in a bit.
After years of talks, a landmark deal has finally been struck to limit Iran's nuclear activity in exchange for lifting tough economic sanctions.
We have stopped the spread of nuclear weapons in this region. Because of this deal, the international community will be able to verify that the Islamic Republic of Iran will not develop a nuclear weapon.
Our quarrel has never been with the Iranian people. And we realize how deeply the nuclear-related sanctions have affected the lives of Iranians. Thanks to the agreement reached today, that will begin to change.
The agreement was inked today in Vienna. After 9 years of tough negotiations, the United States claims the plan ensures that Iran cannot make a nuclear weapon. For Iran, the broad international sanctions against it are lifted. More than $100 billion in overseas frozen assets are now being freed up. News of the deal has infuriated Iran's longtime enemy, Israel, whose prime minister calls it an historical mistake.
The world is a much more dangerous place today than it was yesterday. The leading international powers have bet our collective future on a deal with the foremost sponsor of international terrorism.
Regardless of what the guarantees are, Iran, just like North Korea, cannot be trusted.
Iran has long insisted it has never set out to build a nuclear bomb. Canada was not among the nations who worked out this deal. Canada and Ukraine have struck a trade deal that will see the elimination of nearly all duties on goods bound for our country. But our Prime Minister says there's more than an economic benefit at stake here.
It's also, I think, a step towards helping Ukrainians realize the future that they want. Ukrainians do not want a future based on oppression and a Soviet past. The Ukrainian people want a Western future, a future of prosperity and democracy.
So we do really appreciate everything you are doing and commend your efforts both to support us economically, financially, politically, and making Ukraine really a prosperous state.
Stephen Harper and the Ukrainian Prime Minister inked the deal in Quebec today. Trade between the two countries was $244 million last year. That's down $74 million from 2013. It's also far less than the $400 million in low-interest loans Canada has given Ukraine over the past 2 years to stabilize its economy. They are celebrating at Mission Control as the new Horizon spacecraft makes its historic flyby of Pluto. It's a trip that has taken 9.5 years, covering 4.5 billion kilometers. This still photo was sent back right before the flyby, and researchers say they cannot contain their excitement.
Pluto is an incredible new world, and we're the first ever to see it as the Pluto New Horizon spacecraft zipped by Pluto, and the best is yet to come. What we're trying to learn about is, what makes Pluto tick, if you will? How was it formed? Is it still alive? Is it a frozen world, or does it still have something going on inside under the surface?
New Horizons is so far away from the Earth that all the data it has collected so far will take 16 months to transmit back here to Earth. And the Ontario Science Centre is getting in on all the Pluto excitement today, tweeting out the new photo with the caption, "Are you seeing this? 9 years well spent for this amazing photo." There's also buzz. Geological formations found in today's photo look similarly like Pluto, the Disney character. I think maybe somebody's been into the champagne on that one.
Coming up on City News.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Not quite to this extent.
Controlling a toxic situation.
First call we heard there was 6. Then we got here and 6 were visible, but every step we took, it fleshed out another one. So we're probably at dozens.
The wildlife in danger after a local spill fails to be contained.
Law and Order UK, 9 Friday on City.
You can always spot someone who's just traded up. Trade In, Trade Up is back at your Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram dealer. Trade up to the award-winning Jeep Cherokee with best-in-class capability. Or Jeep Wrangler, 4x4 of the decade. It's the Trade In, Trade Up event on now.
The crash-proof policy from Bel Air Direct is simple. Your premium won't increase due to your first at-fault accident. To demonstrate, here is ice dance champion Moyer.
Call me Scott.
Okay, Moyer. Let's go back to 2011. Ouch. Now, Moyer.
It's Scott.
If you were a car, you would have gotten away with that accident scot-free.
Seriously? Mm-hmm. That's your joke, scot-free.
It's that simple, Moyer. Contact us for a quote.
I'm Sigourney Weaver, and New York is my home. There's no place like it in the world, like our state parks. The Adirondacks are my favorite. For hiking, fishing, camping, you name it. Niagara Falls is the oldest state park, but visiting it never gets old. The readers of a national newspaper voted Letchworth the #1 state park in America. Watkins Glen, #3. New York state parks are a gift. Plan your vacation at iloveny.com/summer. There's something for everyone.
Limits will be tested. Records will be broken. Medals will be won. See some of the world's greatest athletes give everything they've got live right before your eyes. Cheer on the Canadian women's soccer team as they defend gold. July 11th, 15th, and 19th at the CIBC Hamilton Pan Am Soccer Stadium. With tickets starting at just $20, these games are too big to miss. Get yours today at Toronto2015.org.
It's the perfect time to get everything you want for your home because during Leon's Buy More, Save More sale, you can save up to $300 more on all furniture. And during our Sealy mattress clearance, save up to 50%. Plus, save the tax. Limited time only. Visit Leon's or leons.ca today.
I'll go get you some menus in the wine list.
Catch up on your favorite city shows online
That's just a list of everything Caroline's whined about in the last year.
at citytv.com or on the City Video app.
As we've been telling you throughout the newscast, there are big questions tonight about why police in Peel are refusing to answer questions about their decision to let off 3 rounds of gunfire inside a Brampton home. This happened during a raid with a young child in the house and killed the family dog. But police in Peel will say nothing about it. Now, this story that our Tammy Sutherland has been working on has us asking just how many times do police let off their guns. Some regions make those stats publicly available, others do not. And the most recent figures we could find are from last year. Toronto police discharged firearms 24 times in all of 2014. They have almost 3.5 times the number of officers of Peel who fired guns 25 times last year. That includes the Brampton courthouse shooting and an SIU investigation. Durham had 16 charges, but every single one of them was to put down injured animals. Now, all of those numbers are compiled annually, so we do not have figures for 2015. So this story has a lot of people wondering about the civilian oversight of police. The Police Services Board are supposed to be the watchdogs. I had a chance to speak to one lawyer who's dedicated his entire career to police accountability, and he says those Police Services Boards are a big fail.
The system has the potential of working because there's nothing wrong with the board system. But we don't monitor it. We don't have a ministry that has actually been expected by citizens in this province to step up. So the ministry does some work, and I think there's new leadership, so we can look forward to improvements. But the truth of the matter is, this ministry has never been called on to do good work with boards. Nobody has shed the light on it. What you're doing today, it's new. Frankly, it's brand new.
And so the in your eyes, the ministry has to step up and actually say, we expect more of the board, who should be having a closer eye on what police are doing, and more power.
The Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Service has a statutory obligation to set standards for police boards and to enforce those standards. They don't do it. Pure and simple, they don't do it. I can tell you, in my career, which has not been short, I've become an old guy, in my career, decades of doing interviews on policing, I can count maybe 3 times anybody's ever actually asked me about police boards. There's just no public consciousness as to that is where the leverage of civilian control should be exercised. Because there's no public consciousness, because there's no public pressure, the ministry has done business in a fashion that I say does not meet the needs of what is a linchpin control of police.
And Faulkner says that the province really does need to take a more proactive step in letting those police board members know their power and giving them the tools to use that power. If you missed any of our City News investigation, go to our website, citynews.ca. Gord?
Avery, thank you. A new push tonight by a local women's group to curb sexual violence in Toronto, but some fear enough still isn't being done, including one woman whom we've known for decades as Jane Doe. Andrea Puno with the alarming statistics on sexual violence in our streets.
I was sexually assaulted at the end of January. Charges were laid against the perpetrator in mid-February. Very early on, I recognized that this isn't my shame to carry.
Unlike dozens of faces hidden behind these stark, explicit messages against sexual assault, Mandy Gray has chosen to personalize her story. For the first time, the 27-year-old university student is returning to the same neighborhood where she was allegedly sexually assaulted by a classmate.
I think it's important to see me as more than just a victim. I'm okay. I've moved past this, and now we are going to change this space into something positive.
Women's rights organization MetRac is gearing up to launch an online tool about education and prevention, which will also warn residents about sexual predators in their neighborhoods.
people are going to be able to get notifications on not only sexual violence incidences and news stories, but really prevention information right to their phones and right to their voicemail, text, and on social media.
Unfortunately, very little has changed.
A victim now known as Jane Doe was sexually assaulted by the infamous balcony rapist in the 1980s. Decades later, she still chooses to hide her identity.
Doe's attacker was given a 20-year jail sentence, but she also won a precedent-setting civil lawsuit against Toronto police right here at Osgoode Hall back in 1998. She claims investigators were negligent in informing the public about a serial rapist.
Make her smile, you make her laugh.
While she admits high-profile cases involving Bill Cosby and Jian Ghomeshi have empowered people to anonymously come forward, Doe says greater strides have to be made to ensure victims don't suffer in silence.
Did a lot to kind of increase dialogue and conversation and awareness about sexual assault. Very little, if anything, has changed. In fact, I think it's worse than it was because we know so much more.
According to Canadian statistics, just 10% of sexual assaults are reported to police. 80% of survivors know their assailant, and 40% of reported assaults result in charges. Community members are hopeful these messages will help spark change.
It's going to interrupt a lot of people's days in an important way and make them think about whatever their experience or their community.
The trailer with all this artwork will continue to be set up here on Dundas near Bathurst through the end of the week. The safety information system, which will be available on your phone, will officially be launched in October. Andrea Puno, City News.
Coming up on City News.
She's one of the most controversial MMA fighters.
I suppose it's something that I want to change right now in society.
How the first transgender mixed martial artist is fighting for equality.
We are people just like everyone else, and we deserve the chance to compete.
Canadians have chosen to make Nissan the fastest growing brand. They've chosen Pathfinder with its best-in-class passenger room. They've chosen the versatile Rogue with its intuitive all-wheel drive. And for 5 days only, from July 14th to July 18th, your choices have gotten even better. Now get up to $2,000 bonus cash, plus lease or finance from 0%, but only until July 18th.
Why eat things like that when you can have a real snack that's enjoyable to eat? The Laughing Cow is a delicious snack with a unique, creamy taste, because we still believe in the importance of enjoying every bite. Rediscover the Laughing Cow, perfect for the whole family.
Week 32 has been amazing.
I can't wait to do it again.
With Cash for Life, every week can be a new experience.
What are we going to do next week?
With Cash for Life, you could win $1,000 week after week after week. Play now, win for life.
Oh, you're coming over now. Okay. See you soon, Mom. What do we serve?
Milady, no need to worry.
New Robin Hood Quick Bread gives you homemade taste in a hurry.
In scrumptious flavors like banana.
And chocolate chip?
Yes, of course. So you'll have quick bread that tastes like Mumsy used to make. That was quick.
But we were quicker.
Are all our varieties this quick?
Indeed.
Can you hear us? Unfinished basements are the way to go, though.
Are you, like,
if you want to produce
seriously?
athletes,
You can have
unfinished
Hall of Famers. Why do you gotta wreck appliances? It's not cheap nowadays. You know what the maintenance is like in a Whirlpool machine with all types of puck indentations in it? What the hell's wrong with you? If you had Sidney Crosby in an unfinished basement, he'd already broken Gretzky's records. Are you kidding me? He'd have 5 cups by now.
How did my athletic career go?
Were you a basement guy? Okay, well,
Take it
maybe
away.
it doesn't always work.
All right, we're on a boat part of the Panamania going on right now. Just beyond these guys, all the other media that are here are these neat little sailboats that have been set up with art designs from the different countries that are at the Pan Am Games. People love coming down to the waterfront here. Part of the allure is the wildlife that you'll see down here, the ducks everywhere, the geese, even minks in places. But some ducks a little further over in the West End got a little dowsing today that had a lot of people concerned, an oily substance involved in this. Audra Brown now with the efforts to try and rescue these creatures.
These guys just have a lot of fumes coming off of them, and you know, this is going to be just preliminary to get them comfortable enough to manage. Once we get properly set up, we'll probably be holding off on the baths until we get them all stabilized and get all their blood work.
Close to 24 ducks and counting were rushed to the Toronto Wildlife Centre today after they were discovered coated with oil in Mimico Creek.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Not quite to this extent.
The team at the Toronto Wildlife Centre made an emergency appeal to volunteers to help catch the affected birds.
We've always suspected something like this could happen, so we've had a plan. So this is kind of the first time that we're actually using it.
The ducks were then brought here to the Toronto Wildlife Centre, where they were assessed and given an initial rinsing with dish soap.
They have to be 100% waterproof to survive in the wild, so for them it's the only option.
Every little bit off?
Every single bit.
The oil spill in the creek spans from the off-ramp of the 427 onto the 401 to just south of Bloor. Toronto Fire believes it is non-toxic mineral oil that got into the sewer system and the creek following the crash of a transport truck last night carrying 3 transformers that contained 3,000 liters of mineral oil each.
Last night efforts were made to contain it and collect the material spilled from the storm sewers. Everything was done that could have been done last night. It was undetermined that it would have made it to the creek here.
And while city staff worked at containing the spill with booms, wildlife officials were working to catch all of the oil-covered ducks.
First call we heard there was 6. Then we got here and 6 were visible, but every step we took it flushed out another one. So we're probably at dozens by now, I would think, and we know of dozens more. So this is a pretty big deal for these poor ducks.
The city will continue with the cleanup and the transport company may be billed for the cost. The Ministry of the Environment is also conducting their own tests to confirm that it is just mineral oil.
Well, meanwhile, it could take days or even weeks for the ducks to recover at a substantial cost to the Toronto Wildlife Centre. They will not be returned to the wild until the creek is deemed safe once again. At the Toronto Wildlife Centre, Audra Brown, City News.
If you think it's been warm the last couple of days, just wait. Natasha.
Yeah, I think the hottest air yet of 2015 is just around the corner. It's all going to begin on the weekend, and it's the heat today that has been fueling still some pop-up showers to the north. I know it's hot and sunny downtown. We got away with just a few showers today. We're not quite in the clear just yet. I want you to wait until about 9, 10 o'clock tonight before all chance for showers is done. Where you start seeing the oranges, that's where we get into the most intense precipitation. It is all sinking southward here. This is along the QEW through Stony Creek, and that is heading in towards St. Catharines. There's another round that has just popped up near Streetsville. That's tapering and dissipating, but watch another little pop-up shower there out through West Brampton. We move further west towards Arthur and Grand Valley. We get into some rainfall, and again up along the 404 here through Newmarket, sinking southward. So this one heading south toward Van Dorf and then down to King City along the 400. We will be looking at still some showers on and off here for the next, so let's see, what is it now, 6 o'clock? So another 3 hours or so, 3-4 hours, and then we'll be done. And this is all part of a low pressure system. In fact, it's a pair of lows all joined together by cold fronts and warm fronts. And what those fronts are really doing here is A, triggering off some of the precipitation, but B, also kind of dividing that hot, humid air from the cooler, fresher air that is just, and I mean just, back to the west of us. And that big blue H, that's what's going to give us the sunshine for tomorrow. Now, when I say just to the west of us, I mean it's 17 in Sudbury right now. We've got teen temperatures all the way down into North Bay as well. We are hanging on to the mid-20s, but it is literally a matter of hours now when this humidity is going to leave us. Look at the current humidex in North Bay. It is 13, feeling like 13. That, my friends, is where you're going to find that front that's going to continue to sink south. Cool is down. After midnight tonight, you'll really start to feel it. Here's the forecast humidex, the hour by hour here. There's 11 p.m. There's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, feeling like 21. And by early tomorrow morning, as you're heading out the door, we have lost all that humidity. So it's a much fresher feel. The other thing I want you to note is it's going to get very windy over the next couple of hours as well. So once that front goes through, we will have gusts anywhere from 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. This is midnight tonight, 50. Early tomorrow morning, still on the breezy side with wind gusts around 30 to 35 kilometers per hour, and the wind will gradually ease throughout the day tomorrow. It is going to be a sunny day, but once again, I want you to just hang on. 8. Here's 9 o'clock tonight. Still some clouds, some spotty showers here, and some spotty heavy downpours. And then we're done with it. There's your sun for Wednesday. Here is your sun for Thursday. We've got 2 sun-filled days ahead of us once we get through all of this. As far as tonight goes, though, it's still a muggy one. And again, not until after midnight when we start clearing out that humidity. A fresh start to the day tomorrow. The UV index is going to be on the high side. We've got it at an 8 because of that sunshine. And then tomorrow's high of 23 degrees. But air quality is going to be great. The lower the number, the better the air. We're going to be at a 2, and that scale goes well up over 10. So this is a good thing. There's your couple of days of comfortable air. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I didn't know what other word to put. I put the word muggy in there. The humidex is going to be between 35 and 37, and I'm being conservative here, Gord. I wouldn't be surprised if these numbers were all 32s by the time all is said and done.
I guess the upside is the overnight temperatures are not too warm.
Well, you know what, though? 19 at night, if it's muggy, is very uncomfortable if you don't have air conditioning. And it is going to be a muggy 19, unfortunately, not a fresh one. So
it's summertime, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Okay, Nat, thank you. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Okay.
This weather segment is brought to you by Walmart. Get summer living for less. Walmart. Save money. Live better.
I'm Danielle Michaud live at Nathan Phillips Square, and if your workday is done and you've got some time to come join me, Calgary-based band Ruben and the Darks putting on a heck of a set. It's worth coming to check out. I also have an update coming after the break on how Team Canada did today and another busy day 4. We'll also take a look at last night's home run derby, and while it wasn't our hometown hero who came away with the crown, it was still an exciting finish. That's coming up next.
The Bachelorette, 8 Monday on City.
Harvey's introduces new hand-spun classic shakes made with real milk for only $1.89. In chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, or cappuccino. Classic shakes for only $1.89 at Harvey's all summer long. Now that's a beautiful thing.
Canada's abundant oil and natural gas keeps us moving. We're fortunate to have energy the world needs, but we have a challenge in getting it there. Working together to find ways to get our products to new markets will create jobs and government revenue to pay for healthcare, education, and infrastructure for our future. Think oil and natural gas developed the Canadian way is good for Canada? Then say so by raising your hand at raiseyourhandcanada.ca.
Week 32 has been amazing.
I can't wait to do it again.
With Cash for Life, every week can be a new experience.
What are we going to do next week?
With Cash for Life, you could win $1,000 week after week after week. Play now, win for life.
Your Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram dealer knows everything there is to know about your vehicle. And that's a lot. Mopar people, Mopar parts.
Oh, you're coming over now. Okay. See you soon, Mom. What do we serve?
Milady, no need to worry.
New Robin Hood Quick Bread gives you homemade taste in a hurry.
In scrumptious flavors like banana.
And chocolate chip?
Yes, yes, of course. So you'll have quick bread that tastes like Mumsy used to make. That was quick.
But we were quicker.
Are all our varieties this quick?
Indeed.
Pretty impressive. Marvel's Ant-Man.
Canada's goal was to finish in the top 2 at least in the Pan Am medal standings, and Danielle, so far, U.S. is breathing down our necks, but we're still out ahead.
There's still a fancy cushion, and we can thank a lot of the paddlers for that. Team Canada putting another dominant effort thanks to both the men and women on on the water. So if we take a look at the board, the paddlers contributed 8 medals over 11 events. So no surprise, Canada still on top. They're now at 53 medals. The order hasn't changed much from yesterday. As you said, Gord, United States tracking close behind. Then it's Cuba, Colombia, and Mexico rounding out the top 5. And last night was the home run derby, Gord, and while they've changed the format to try to make it more exciting, I give it 2 thumbs up. It was awesome, as Josh Donaldson was the lone representative for the Blue Jays.
Vote getter in all-star balloting. The number 3.
There's our boy. All eyes on Josh Donaldson, the leading all-star vote getter, might I remind you. Representing the Jays, taking on Anthony Rizzo in the first round. And the Cubs first baseman smacked 8 over the wall, and Donaldson wasted no time chasing that mark. 3 quick home runs in the first 25 seconds or so, as he'd crush 9 total to advance to the semis. Unfortunately, he'd be bounced by the Reds' Todd Frazier, who had his home crowd in a frenzy as he drilled the winning homer number 15 in walk-off fashion over Dodgers rookie Jock Peterson in bonus time. Cue the fireworks. What a finish. Frazier becomes the 2015 Home Run Derby champ.
That was a great time, great experience. Just overall, I think it was a great format, and you can't go wrong with the hometown kid, winning it for his city. It was pretty neat.
The Argos looking to start 3-0 for the first time since 1991 as they paid Cowtown a visit in the second. Stampeders leading 14-7. Bo Levi Mitchell throws it up to Jeff Fuller. It's the leap and grab. Nice hops to give Calgary a 21-7 advantage, but here come the Argos. Under 2 minutes left till half, Harris finds Torrey Gurley, who beats Bennett in tight coverage for the 44-yard hookup. Now after the play, Elliott jumps over Bennett, and that's not gonna fly. Stripes book him for objectionable conduct, but the Stampeders get the last laugh, downing Toronto 25-20, your final. And there's Tiger Woods working away at St. Andrews ahead of this week's British Open, and he wants you to forget any retirement nonsense. Although he hasn't won a title of any sort since 2013 and has a ranking north of 200, he's confident he's much more solid out there. Sure, whatever you say, Tiger. Good luck keeping up with young buck Jordan Spieth, who's going for his 3rd major in a row without world number 1 Rory McIlroy to worry about. You know Woods has taken notice because once upon a time, it was him dominating at such a young age.
He's playing well, obviously. He's won 2 major championships and just won last week. Obviously, he's in great form. It's just a matter of going out there and then executing his game plan. I mean, that's what he talks about a lot, is formulating a game plan and executing it. And this is a golf course in which you have to do that.
All right, Gord, so British Open starts Thursday. Our top Canadian golfer, Graham Dillette, gets on his plane, arrives there, and his clubs are nowhere to be found. They show up and look like total crap. You'd think this wouldn't happen to professional golfers, but apparently they can lose your clubs no matter who you are. Yeah,
it happens to anybody. Once you check in that luggage, it's out of your hands. Hey, I thought Tiger looked a little melancholy in his comments today.
I agree, and he was actually pretty upset because they were suggesting retirement instead of asking how he's going to do this weekend, and he said, I'm not even 40, so back off on all these retirement comments.
Thanks for that, Danielle. We'll talk to you soon. Still ahead, busting down barriers.
Coming up on City News.
I would like for us to be just accepted and everyone just to be on the same playing field.
Fighting for equality. How one of the most controversial MMA fighters is putting transgender rights on the line.
We're not exactly where we need to be yet, and we've got a long way to go.
Don't make the same mistake twice. Don't wait till it's too late.
Let us out! Let us out! You can stop this right now. It's not too late.
It's our responsibility.
Wayward Pines, 9 Thursday on City.
The Fiat 500 isn't alone anymore. It's part of a big Italian family.
We're taking questions.
How did it feel to win Lotto 649?
All the neighbors probably heard me, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, I was outside gardening. I couldn't stop shaking. We didn't know what to do next. We just sat there staring at the ticket.
So what are your plans?
My grandmother has some property. It'd be really nice to keep it in the family.
The next Lotto 649 jackpot is $30 million, plus the guaranteed $1 million prize draw.
I'm Canadian.
It's not opening.
Oh, we need to say it in different languages.
我是加拿大人。
Je suis Canadien.
I'm Japanese.
Io sono
Canadian. This.
Let's see what people think about A&W's chicken.
Really good.
Yeah?
It's juicy and I love it.
Our chicken is raised without the use of antibiotics.
Wow, that's impressive.
It's nice to know that what you are eating is quality.
My first thing I've ever eaten from here and I love it.
Come see for yourself at A&W.
I'm gonna tell you something.
I love you. I love you.
You can't fight like that anymore.
I wouldn't be here without my wife, Maureen.
You ain't never been hit by a real man.
Baby, let's go home.
I know that you're mad at me.
You don't know anything.
I can't lose my daughter. I give my everything.
Southpaw, July 24th.
It's not about hugging trees. It's not about being wasteful either. You just gotta find that balance. Where taking care of yourself takes care of more than just yourself.
Discover the MKZ or the MKZ Hybrid. Your choice for the same price.
All right, we're out enjoying Panamania here with some beautiful boats behind us, but one of the parts of the Pan Am Games, of course, is boxing and judo and things like that, but there's an MMA fighter we're learning about who's fighting for inclusion. Melanie Ng with her story.
Fallon Fox.
Fallon Fox, she is an MMA fighter.
It's not her undefeated record that has everyone talking.
Fallon Fox has been grabbing headlines around the world as the first openly transgender athlete in the history of mixed martial arts.
Hey, how are you? It's good to meet you. Yeah, meet you.
Fallon is in Toronto speaking at a summit timed with the Pan Am Games and drawing international sport leaders. The goal, breaking down barriers around LGBT culture, especially at the recreational sporting level.
My big message is about inclusion and about including younger LGBT athletes in sport and making them feel more welcome. And how do we do this?
Wrestling played a big role in Fallon's early life, but the real battle was one she fought in silence.
I had feelings that I was female inside, like I had feelings that I wanted to be a woman, and there's this thing called gender dysphoria, where you start to dislike your body in relation to sex and gender, and your brain doesn't match it with your body, and that's something that I was going through.
When her daughter was just 5 years old, Fallon knew she needed to be true to herself.
I just let her know in so many words that, Daddy's going to become mommy.
In 2006, Fallon transitioned to a woman. She was embraced by the LGBT community as she entered the competitive world of MMA. But to this day, she still faces criticism within her sport, competing as a woman.
You've had to go through so many challenges and battles, Joe Rogan, Dana White. How do you respond to all of this?
How do I respond to all of that? I try to respond to it with education. Some people believe I have an automatic advantage.
But medical experts say she may actually be at a disadvantage because of the testosterone-blocking hormones that are taken.
With Caitlyn Jenner, with me, with a lot of people are starting to understand a lot more about transgender issues. We're not exactly where we need to be yet, and we've got a long way to go.
The Sport Inclusion Summit continues tomorrow. From there, leaders will be coming up with a series of recommendations to make a more inclusive recreational sport environment, not only for here in Toronto, but right around the world. At the 519, Melanie Ng, City News.
Well, on the 5 and the 6, we've been talking about these beautiful little sailboats behind and the murals that are on them, the design on them. And joining us now is Laura McCabe, the executive director of the Textile Museum. And you're behind this. Where did the idea come from for these sailboats with these lovely displays?
Well, the Textile Museum works with artists around the world, and when we were approached by the Pan Am Games to think of a project, we were interested in reaching out to that network of artists, but also using the natural environment of Toronto and the lake and the waterfront as a way to highlight their work, and sailboats and textiles made a lot of sense for us, so hence watercolor was the result.
And every country got in on this, was involved in it?
Every one of the 41 participating countries has an artist representing them in a sail, and they'll be visible over the next 3 days. This was the first night, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 10 a night with Canada leading each group.
It's been quite an interesting, runs the gamut from Canada's right at the front here to there was cupcakes on a few of them. Exactly. It must have been a fun project to work on.
It's been a great project, and the artists really, really outdid themselves in terms of design, and they're gorgeous.
Okay, thanks very much, Shauna McCabe, the executive director of Textile Museum of Canada, and these are the boats that are on display, part of the Panamania. Send it back to you, Gord.
All right, Roger. Still ahead, a star among the stars. Toronto gets more than just a cameo in the upcoming Will Smith and Jared Leto film Suicide Squad. A first look at all those scenes featuring our fine city. Next.
Get ready for Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America, Black Widow, and many more as they battle Loki and Marvel's most sinister villains for control of the ultimate source of power. You can journey into a universe unlike anything you've ever seen and experience this epic event live. Marvel Universe Live, official partner Overstar.
Playing August 6th through 9th at First Ontario Centre and August 13th to 16th at Air Canada Centre. You can visit Ticketmaster for more information.
We're taking questions.
How did it feel to win Lotto 649?
All the neighbors probably heard me, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, I was outside gardening. I couldn't stop shaking. We didn't know what to do next. We just sat there staring at the ticket.
So what are your plans?
My grandmother has some property. It'd be really nice to keep it in the family.
The next Lotto 649 jackpot is $30 million, plus the guaranteed $1 million prize draw.
The Nissan Rogue is perfect for road trips. No matter where you go, you'll travel with peace of mind. And it has plenty of room to bring along everything you need. The Nissan Rogue. Versatility where it matters most.
Wake up and get started with Breakfast Television.
On the next BT, we meet the star of 2 for 1. It's a timely Canadian comedy that tackles the issue of gender identity with humor and sensitivity.
And later in the week, the world's most famous groupie, Pamela Des Barres, tells us all about her scandalous relationships with rock royalty.
Plus, Billy Baldwin will be here lending his support to Sick Kids Hospital. BT, 5:30 weekdays, only on City.
Wake up and get started. Breakfast Television is brought to you by McCafe Coffee. Now available in grocery stores on City.
Some people say being a grandmother slows you down, but it drives me to take on the challenges that benefit future generations in this province. Transit, roads, jobs, stopping climate change, ensuring people have a decent pension to retire on, and to keep running until they're done.
Get ready for fun in the sun.
I've never seen anything more beautiful in my life.
Get more? See more Florida with redtag.ca. Book a select vacation package now and receive 1 free day on us.
The new trailer for Suicide Squad has debuted sooner than expected, and you might recognize some of the big cityscapes.
said, huh? We're the patsies. We're some kind of suicide squad.
There it is, our first look at the Suicide Squad and Jared Leto's Joker in full manic mode. And if you look closely, you may spot some iconic Toronto areas such as Eaton Centre and Yonge Dundas Square, both right outside our home here at City. Warner Brothers released the trailer sooner than expected after fans illegally recorded it at Comic-Con over the weekend. The action-packed flick will hit theaters August next year.
Coming up on City News tonight, we're learning more about that police vehicle that was involved in that crash on the 427. It shut down the southbound express lanes this evening. It was apparently a bomb disposal truck. We'll have the latest on that. Also, the city, the feds, and the province are getting together. They have big plans for the Portlands behind us. What they want to do, Anna Vlahos is on that. We'll tell you more. And, of course, the All-Star game tonight. Josh Donaldson starting at third for the American League. Great to see that. We'll have highlights with Danielle. And it's a beautiful night to be out here on the water, Natasha. We got the boats out from the Panamania. It's a lot of fun out here. Perfect night, but it's going to cool off.
It is going to cool off, and would you believe it? I know it's hard to believe because we're standing out here in the sun that it is going to rain still. We're not really in the clear until about 9-10 o'clock tonight, so all those showers sinking south out of the north GTA down along the 400 in towards Vaughan right now are just going to edge into the city of Toronto. We're in the clear by 10. A much fresher field tomorrow, starting off at 13 degrees. Humidity will be gone, and it is going to be a bit of a breezy start out of the north tomorrow morning. The wind eases through the day. Enjoy that comfortable high of 23 and slather on the sunscreen. Gord, UV index is at an 8.
All right, Natasha, thank you. A reminder, Toronto's news available anytime with the City News mobile app and at citynews.ca. Thanks for watching tonight. Modern Family next on City.
Modern